the barriers to communication, and in this topic we will learn about four, and these barriers are semantic barriers, psychological barriers, organizational barriers, and personal barriers. So let's start with the first type, that is semantic barriers. Semantics is the branch of linguistics. Linguistic here means language. Semantics is the branch of language dealing with the meaning of words and sentences. So now it is clear that semantic here means the barriers of language. Semantic barriers are concerned with problems and obstructions in the process of encoding and decoding. Encoding here means when a sender of a message draft a message, that is encoding, and decoding means when a receiver of a message interpret the message. So there is a problem in encoding or decoding of a message into words or impressions. Normally such barriers result on account of use of wrong words, faulty translations, and different interpretations. Types of semantic barriers, and we'll start with the first one, that is badly expressed message. Sometimes the intended meaning may not be conveyed by a manager to his subordinates. Means he want to say something, but due to poor language he did not able to convey the message. These badly expressed messages may be on account of inadequate vocabulary, using of wrong words, omission of needed words, etc. Next type is symbols with different meaning. A word may have several meanings, and receiver has to perceive one such meaning for the word used by communicator. For example, consider these three sentences where the word value is used. First, what is the value of this ring? Second, I value our friendship. And third is, what is the value of learning computer skills? You will find that value gives different meanings in different contexts, and wrong perception lead to communication problem. Sometimes manager use any of the value word which are given in the example. There may be different words also, so we have to clarify it from our superiors that what does it mean in semantic barriers. Third is faulty translations. Sometimes the communications originally drafted in one language, like in English, needed to be translated into the language understandable to the workers, like in Hindi. If the translator is not proficient with both the languages, means he has knowledge of both the languages but not very perfectly. So mistakes may creep in, causing different meanings to the communication. Next one is unclarified assumptions. Some communications may have certain assumptions which are subject to different interpretations. For example, a boss may instruct his subordinate, take care of our guest. Now, take care of our guest is a very rare situation in which we cannot guess that how much care we have to take for our guest. Boss may mean that subordinates should take care of transport, food and accommodation of the guest until he leaves the place, but the subordinate may interpret that guest should be taken to hotel with care. So there is a difference in interpretation, and due to this difference the guest suffers, and we also suffer from the complaint received by the boss. So whenever there is any such sentence is used, we must have to clarify that assumption. Technical jargon. Technical jargon here means using most of the technical words. It is usually found that specialists use technical jargon or technical words. Like for a commerce student, if he write any commerce terminology, for a science student or any science student write anything with their terminology, then it is very difficult for us to understand. So while explaining to a person who are not specialists in the concerned field, therefore they may not understand the actual meaning of many such words. And you know that the basic purpose of the language is to just communicate, and the receiver must understand what is being said. It doesn't mean that we have lot of knowledge and we have a vast vocabulary. So there is no chance for understanding if we use technical jargon. So this is also a barrier of communication. Next is body language and gesture decoding. Every movement of body communicates some meanings. Some body movement and gesture of communicator matter so much in conveying the message. If there is no match between what is said and what is expressed in body movement, communication may be wrongly perceived. For example, I said tomorrow is not a holiday. So it is perfectly matched with what is said and what the gesture is. But if I say that tomorrow is not a holiday, then it means tomorrow is holiday. Someone may perceive that tomorrow is a holiday. Someone may perceive it is not a holiday. So there may be a confusion. So our body gestures must also or always support what has been said. This is second type of barrier, and these are psychological barriers. Psychological barriers are emotional or psychological factors act as a barrier to communicator. For example, a worried person cannot communicate properly, and an angry receiver cannot understand the real meaning of message. The state of mind of both sender and receiver of communication reflect in the effective communication. So whenever we want to communicate something, we must not suffer from these problems, means we must not be angry. Now some examples of psychological barriers. First type is premature evaluation. Sometimes people evaluate the meaning of message before sender completes his message. Means someone is saying, or you can assume that suppose your parents are asking you to do certain routine work, so you stop them and tell that I know what you want to say. So that is premature evaluation, means the person who is trying to communicate with you has not finished his statement, but before that you guess that what has been told. Such premature evaluation may be due to preconceived notions or prejudices against the communication. Next point is lack of attention. So it is very clear cut that the preoccupied mind of a receiver and the resultant non-listening of message act as a major psychological barrier. For instance, an employee explains about his problem to the boss who is preoccupied with an important file before him. The boss does not grasp the message and employee is disappointed. So it is a common example, lack of attention. Loss by transmission and poor retention. So it has two parts. First of all, we will learn about loss by transmission. When communication passes through various levels, means from one person to another, then another, then another, successive, successive transmissions of message result in loss of transmission of inaccurate information. This is more so in case of oral communication. So generally this problem arises in case of oral communication. Or you can take an example of Chinese whisper. If you try it, so oral communication is a problem because there is no evidence, as well as the retention power of one person is less than other. So He can communicate only few words of the complete statement, and when it passes on to successive level, the last person will receive the very small amount of message. Poor retention is another problem. Usually people cannot retain the information for a long time if they are inattentive or not interested. Next type is distrust. Distrust between communicator and communicatee act as a barrier. So who is the communicator? Who want to say something to another person, and communicatee is receiver. Communicator is sender and communicatee is receiver. So it acts as a barrier if the parties don't believe each other. They don't have any trust between them. They cannot understand each other message in its original sense. Next type is organizational barriers, which occurs due to the organizational structure. The factor related to organizational structure or authority relationships or rules or regulations, or may sometimes act as a barrier to effective communication. So mainly these problems occurs due to wrong organizational practices. Means these communication barriers arises due to wrong organizational structure or wrong methods used by the management. Let's see some example. Types of organizational barriers. First one is organizational policy. If the organizational policy explicit or implicit. Here explicit means clearly stated and implicit means hidden. So if the policy is clearly stated or it is hidden or is not supportive to free flow of communication, it may hamper effectiveness of communication. For example, in an organization with highly centralized pattern, you know centralized pattern where authority is retained at the top level, people may not be encouraged to have free communication. So this may be the organizational policy, and due to this policy there is a barrier to the communication. Next one is rules and regulations. Rigid rules and cumbersome procedures. Cumbersome procedure here means lengthy procedures may be a hurdle to communication. Similarly, communications through a prescribed channel may result in delay. Next is status. Status of superior may create psychological distance between him and his subordinate. A status conscious manager also may not allow his subordinate to express their feelings freely. So it depends on the nature of management or manager. Next point is complexity in organizational structure. In the organization where there are number of managerial levels and communication gets delayed and distorted as number of filtering points are moved. Means if the organizational structure is very complex and there are lots of levels. Next point is organizational facilities. If facilities for smooth, clear and timely communication are not provided, communication may be hampered. So what type of facilities must be provided? Like there must be frequent meetings, there must be a suggestion box and complaint box in every organization. There must be social and cultural gathering, and the business operations must be transparent. So it will encourage free flow of communication. But here we are discussing the barriers. So how it work as a barrier? If these facilities are not provided, lack of these facilities may create communication problems. Next is personal barriers. This is last or fourth type. The personal factors of both sender and receiver may exert influence on effective communication. Types of personal barriers are: first one is fear of challenge to authority. If a superior perceives that a particular communication may adversely affect his authority, he or she may withhold or suppress such communication. Means he don't want to be criticized if he is wrong. That's why he will not communicate. Second one is lack of confidence of superior on his subordinates. If superior do not have confidence on the competency of their subordinate, they may not seek their advice or opinions. If they know that their subordinate is incapable or less capable, then why they will communicate? So this is also a personal barrier. It depends person to person and organization to organization. Next one is unwillingness to communicate. Sometimes subordinate may not be prepared to communicate with their superior. If they perceive that it may adversely affect their interest, so it is direct point, there is not too much details. And fourth one is lack of proper incentive. If there are no motivation or incentive for communication, subordinate may not take initiative to communicate. For example, if a employee has a good suggestion but nobody want to listen him, or if they listen but did not apply it to the organization, then next time he will not try because he was not recognized. So if such incentives are not provided, then it is also a barrier, and next time they will never try for it. For example, if there is no reward or appreciation for good suggestion, the subordinate may not be willing to offer useful. Thank you, students. Thanks for watching.